Hello everybody, my name is Mazarym and welcome to today's feature presentation. Today we're going to be talking about the Scoria Nation Data Quiz, the first one in fact. So back in December I had some of the friends of mine who are involved in Scoria fill out a Google form and just shed some light about some of the more interesting and unknowns of their countries. So let me show you what I mean. So what you see here are in red the countries who were surveyed. So we had Nick's country, Sebastian's country, Miles' country, Brandon's country. I took the survey because it's not very great. I'm not gonna cheat. And then we had Luke's country and Alex's country involved. These were most of the player countries involved, except for a few, which is fine. There'll definitely be more of these to come, and hopefully this will encourage those people, to take these quizzes. So let's begin. So the first question just asks, what's your government type? We have here color-coded the various government types listed. And so for the vast majority of people, they were republics and monarchies. In fact, the only three monarchies labeled are Valmora, Guaku, and Realisis. So that's here, here, and here. With everybody else being excuse me, everyone else being marked as republics. In fact, the next question just simply asks, does your nation claim to be democratic? In the case of all these countries surveyed, that was a resounding yes. In other words, the three monarchies which we mentioned prior, these guys, all constitutional, or at least have some democratic institution in one way or another. The next map just simply asks, what's the most commonly eaten, or I guess traded or grown meat in your country? And so we have here, we'll just go through each one. For Nigeria and Valmora, the most common meat was pork. And for Shaukuns, Vedenum, and Realisis, it was seafood. Cantus was sort of in between red meat and seafood, and for Guaku, it was just all around red meat. Whether that's lamb or beef, you may want to ask the Guaku that question. And then we have alcohol consumption by country. This question just simply asks, what's the most common alcoholic beverage, or the most popular one in your country? And for basically, okay, so we have an answer from the Guacan, it's beef. Thank you, Guacan delegation. And so for alcohol consumption, it's a resounding distilled or spirits liquor, basically, with Vedenum just being all around hipsters and just go with wine, I guess. It's not that unsurprising given Vedenum's history. But if I were to guess for the rest of Scoria, they'd be drinking liquor too. And now we have caffeinated drink of choice by country. This was a fun question. I think it was suggested by Nick. Same vein as the previous question, but we have choices like coffee, tea, or energy drinks. And so for most people, most countries that were surveyed said coffee, the Guakins said tea, and the Realians drink energy drinks. And here I am trying to figure out what monster would be in Scoria. I guess beast energy. There you go. And now we get into favorite sport by country. So for the Nigerians, that's football, and in this context, we're talking more soccer. For Shaukuns, it's basketball. For Cantus and Guaku, it's gridiron or American football. For Realisis, it's laser racing, which you may want to ask a Realian what that is or what that entails. It definitely sounds very exciting. And then for Venom and Valmora, it's Warball. Warball being sort of a hybrid between American football and rugby, and a very interesting playing field. And now we get into favorite music genre by country. So for the Nigerians, it's hip hop. For Valmorans, Shaukunians, and Vedians, it's rock. For the Guakins, it's classical. For Cantus, it's a wide variety. I believe they made a note. It's got a bit of rock, bit of country, bit of soul. And for Realist, it is a electronic music. Next question is simply movie genres. For Shaukuns and Valmora, we got comedies. Cantus and Niteria, we have drama. Vedians like action movies, and fantasy is very popular in Guacu and Realis. And now we have a question about tips in your country. Whether or not tipping is included in the bill when you go out to a restaurant, or you should tip when you're going out to eat. So for the countries in blue, Nigeria, Valmor, Guacu, the tip is already included in the bill, similar to how you'll see in most countries, say like in Europe. Uh, and so for the countries in red, Shaukuns, Cantus, Veda, and Realis, uh, you're more expected to tip with the bill, or at least you should. I would hope you would. And now these next series of maps aren't colored, but more text based, simply because we had people fill out what the biggest holidays were in their country, and so we'll just go round and round. Ugh. Starting here, Nigeria's largest holiday was their Independence Day. For Shaukuns, it's their Discovery Day. Cantus was like a three-way tie between Yuletide, New Year's, or their Flag Day. If you watched our video or the stream when this was recorded, you'll know that Yuletide is basically scoring Christmas. Same thing as Theogenesy, just two different names for the same holiday. For the Valmorans, it's their Unification Day. For the Guacans, it's their Discovery Day. And this is paraphrasing here, so forgive me, but for Realis, it's a large music festival. In other words, think Coachella with tons of other shit involved. So there you go. And now we have the most popular university program by country, so we'll go through as we did before. For the Nigerians, a lot of Nigerian students are studying political science and administration. For Shaukuns, a lot of cyber and IT degrees. For the Cantanians, economics and classical history. The Scorians at university are studying engineering, whereas Valmorans are studying medicine. For the Guacans, it's naval science. And for the Realis student, there's a program called the Royal Business Initiative. We'll have to learn more about that at some point, but from first glance, I'm guessing it's some kind of government program to encourage entrepreneurs. Very Aurelian, if you ask me. And now you have the most popular domestic sports team by country. So here's the name of the sports team, and in parentheses is the sport they're from. So the most popular team in Nigeria is a soccer or football team called Korthgal IDN. And Shaukuns, it's the All-Star Shaukuns basketball team, so think like the national teams for like international championships. The Arcadian Falcons is actually a franchise overarching several sports. Think like a club in most, I guess, European countries. Same teams, but just different sports, basically, and a variety of them. The Almius Land Orcas and Warball is a very popular team. In fact, Valscoria has a lot of very popular Warball teams. The Griffins, the Valmoran Griffins, the Guacan Bulldogs, and then finally in Realis is the Reyes, which is in soccer football as well. And now we have another interesting graphic. These are national animals by country. So the Nigerian honey badger, the Chaukunsian puffins, Cantanian falcons, the Vescorian eagle, Valmoran griffins, the Guacan albino lemurs, and the Rayalian albino tigers. This was a lot of fun, but a lot of time to put together as I try to find more consistent clip art of each animal. And here's another color in illustration of a question, just simply asking, is the capital city of your country the largest city in your country? And for most people, they answered no, but for Shaukuns, Cantus, Realis, the capital of their countries was in fact the largest country, or excuse me, largest city. And now, relating to the capital question, is your capital city on the coast or is it more inland? So in red, we have more inland capitals, and in blue, coastal capitals. This map marks the largest religious groups by the survey countries. So in the blue, Shaukuns, Mora, Guacu, Vedanum, that's Theosism. In purple, we have Dream Conjuring in Cantus Realis, Hamjala. And then finally, Nigeria is actually a majority irreligious or atheist country. And this question simply asks those that answered Theosism. In fact, Theosism is one of the two largest religions in Scoria. The other one would be Lahada. So this question pertains to those that answered Theosism initially, simply asking what's the largest denomination in your country. So for Shaukuns, they're actually non-denominational majority. For the Vedians, it's Tarsician Reformed Theosism, and in Guwakyu and Valmora and Guwakyu, Northern Orthodoxy. This map marks best friends by country. So the question provided was basically, who would your country consider to be its best friend, relations-wise? So Nigeria answered the Voltage Federation, which is this country here, in Valmora. Shaukuns answered Cantus. Cantus answered Valmora, the Voltage Federation, and they put the old name for this country here called Yutsuyawa, which was founded by Brett. Vedenum answered Guwakyu, Valmora answered Guwakyu, Guwakyu answered Valmora, and Rayalysis answered Pangam, down here. The next question just asks, who are the closest trading partners with your country? And so the same was said for the Voltage Federation in Nigeria, best friends in Nigeria and largest partners, which makes sense given the circumstance. Shaukuns also answered Nigeria. Cantus answered Valmora. Vedenum answered Valmora. Valmora answered both Nigeria and Vedenum. Guwakyu answered Piravi, which is a pretty interesting answer. I mean, considering right next to each other and on Wisdo's doorstep. And Rayalysis also answered Valmora. So boom, there you go. Nigeria and Valmora among the largest trading partners. And here we have a map of rivals by country. So in a similar vein, this map begs the question, who do your citizens consider their biggest rivals? So for Nigeria and Valmora, that was Cantus. For Shaukuns, that was Benesia, which is down here. For Cantus, that was Vedenum, so I guess that was pretty interesting. Vedenum actually answered both Bashkan and Aranka, these countries down here. The reason for this was pertaining to their historic association with the Fateh Sultanate, which they fought back relentlessly over the centuries. So there you go, bitter rivalries. Guwakyu answered Wisdo, which is another ancient rivalry. And Rayalysis answered Guwakyu, which we'll have to ask them about. This next map asks the question, who are the biggest threats to the world according to your country? So Nigeria answered Joa to this question. See, I think more people answered in regards to countries, but you'll see in the second one did not, which is a very good and interesting answer. So Nigeria answered Joa. Shaukuns doubled down on Benesia, being their rival and biggest threat to the world. I think as did Cantus. Cantus said Vedenum. Valmora answered both Wisdo and the Kurjak Federation, which is this tiny country up here. Vedenum also answered Wisdo. Rayalysis said Nigeria. I guess there's something wrong going on with their relations. We may yet want to investigate that. But Guwakyu did not pick a country and instead said nuclear warfare, which I think was a good answer. Good answer. And this question now asks, the citizens of your country, if they couldn't live in your country, where do you think they would rather live? So for Nigeria, that was simply the Voltage Federation, and Argonos, which is this Nigerian-speaking country in Basmaria. So they could fit in quite well in those countries. Shaukuns with the love of Cantus, yet and yet again, it said Cantus. Cantus said Valmora, which is up here. Vedenum said Savarek, which is this tiny island country right here. Very historic ties with Vedenum as well. Valmoran said Nigeria. They also said Morvek, which Morvek is actually a really large Orthodox country. When we talk about the history of Northern Talmar, we'll also discuss the genetic history between these countries and these countries. Guwakyu said Valmora, or Balmark, which is right here. And Rayalysis also said Valmora. So there you go. This question asks, how long has the current leader of your country been reigning for? So we have 3 years in Nigeria, less than 2 years in Shaukuns, 5 years in Vedenum and Cantus, 3 years in Valmora, 32 years in Guwakyu, and 47 in Rayalysis. And this question also asks, before they became leader, what was your leader's job or occupation? For the Nigerian President Lillian Malborn, she was a national representative. For the Shaukunzian President Brandosaurus Maximus, he was a line cook. Very humble beginnings, I must say. Let me double check the leader's name here. I believe it's Jean something. Let me just double check. Bear with me. Yeah, so the Cantanian president, Jean-Michel Dumont, he was a pilot and a senator. The president of Vietnam, I believe, yeah, his name is Madara Fonti, was the governor of Odilla. If you see where my mouse cursor is, Odilla, these islands right here, are province of Vietnam. The Valmoran Emperor, Jaco II, was part of the military, in fact, involved in the infamous Clanarian War. Blokhov Yevgeny, the leader, excuse me, I believe that's right. Blokhov Yevgeny was the duke, or I believe the heir to the Guacan throne. And the king of Royalists, King Alexander Baraza Montenegro II, was the CEO. Of which corporation, you may want to ask. This question asks, what was the year your country was founded in its current iteration? So we're not talking like previous iterations. We're talking like the modern country. What year was it founded? For a few of us, unfortunately, that was unknown, which is totally fine. But for the Nigerians, that was 197 DE. For Shaukuns, they had a really new constitution, give or take 5 years ago. For Vietnam, it was 323. And for Valmora, it was 315. For context, the current year is 616 DE. And these are the opinions of neighbors by country. So when dealing with your neighbors, how do you feel about them, good or bad? And luckily for the countries surveyed, they all had pretty good opinions of their neighbors. And this question was, in a similar vein, the opinion of your leader. And all the countries surveyed tended to like their leaders. And this question asked, would the citizens of your country die for their country? And all but Shaukuns Realists said yes. And this question asks, conscription by country. What are the laws regarding conscription or enforcing military service in your country? You have to bear with me. This was, I think, on the same layer as when I colored them in. So, excuse me. So for Shaukuns and Vietnam, they said yes, but only during wartime. For Guacu, they said only for a legally mandated amount of time. So think in regards to South Korea or Israel, where conscription is required, but only for a couple of years, I believe, or even months at that end. For Nigeria, Cantus, and Realists, there is no conscription whatsoever. And in Valmora, there's a special circumstance where members of the royal family are required to serve or are otherwise conscripted. And this question also asks, is voting compulsory in your country? Do you legally have to vote? And could you face repercussions for not voting? Everyone except for Nigeria and Guacu answered no. So if you live in Nigeria, Guacu, and it's election day, make sure you hit the polls. And I believe this is the last question of the survey. Let me just double check. Yep, this is the last question. Bit of a fun one here, just simply begging the question, could you defeat your real world counterpart? So for Nigeria, that's France, and they said maybe, because you gotta remember France has a lot of allies, but Nigeria also has a lot of allies too, so make of that what you will. Shaukuns, I believe their inspiration was Singapore, so I think without a doubt, Shaukuns could definitely defeat Singapore. Cantus comes from a variety of cultures, but we'll say for the sake of simplicity, Occitanie, which is in the southern part of France, we'll say yes. Well, they said yes, but I'll reiterate and confirm yes. Vietnam is based off Italy, and I think given Vietnam's allies, they could probably defeat Italy. Same for Guacu, which is based off Greece, and Valmora, which is based off the Balkan states. And Realists is actually based off Atlantis, thematically speaking. So, to put it simply, I definitely think Realists could defeat an underwater city. Depending on, oh, I guess that depends which one you want to include, but let's assume it's a completely submerged city for that matter, and not the one from the Disney film. But there you go. That is all I have for you regarding this survey. It was a lot of fun to see them fill out and to make and illustrate the results for you. When the time comes for us to do another survey, I would hope for more people to respond to this, and we'll have some new and creating questions to talk about and discuss. If you'd like to see these recorded live, you can do so by following me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Mazarym. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video soon. See you later.